So welcome to the team call, and I'm so excited to have you guys here today. I have got some exciting announcements. I think probably a lot of you guys have seen the news on the new Control Freak program, but that is seriously exciting. So I'm just going to present. Hopefully you guys have brought your conversations as well, example conversations, because we're going to go through those in a sec. But just going through a 30-day breakaway. Hopefully you guys all know about 30-day breakaway. For those of you guys that are new to the team, that's a new launch program that had an exclusive coach window between the 5th and the 18th, so tomorrow. And then the customer launch is, today. The customer launch is tomorrow. It's a mixture of a running and strength training program to really train you to get into the groove with running and everything else. So yeah, if running's your jam, then that's definitely one to look at. And I am so excited about this. I've been talking to a few of you guys about Control Freak, which launches early access from the 7th of December. That's Autumn's new 9-week program. And I know people that I've been talking to who are in the test group are absolutely loving it. I'm not quite sure when we get the sample work out, but I can only imagine it's probably going to be like the middle of November, guys. So start thinking about that. Start thinking about what boot camps you're going to run and lead and how you want to launch it. I'll certainly be doing a big one like we did for MBF. So that's going to bring some amazing new energy and an incredible opportunity, guys, to build with coaches. Because of course, if you are going to lead a coach group that kicks off the day that you get early access, everyone's going to enroll as a coach, and that is going to help you build. So super exciting. Summit is in St. Louis in July next year. I'm not going to go down all through the list there, but unbelievably exciting. If you're a new coach, please ask your coach about this and how you can obtain a free ticket to this event. There's 20,000 people in the stadium, so it really is a must not miss. And I can tell you, as somebody that was a new coach in the March that didn't go to my first summit, the FOMO was like the most ridiculous FOMO I had experienced in my life. And I made sure literally as soon as that event was over and it was announced that I'd got my ticket booked for the next one, because I wasn't going to miss it. So book of the week, this is a book that I've actually read. I think I'm reading it now for the 3rd time, and I really just wanted to talk about it for a couple of minutes, because this author, Denise Duffield Thomas, talks about how, as women in particular, societally and culturally, we often feel as though we can't talk about money. It's not nice to want to earn a lot of money. It's seen as greedy or bossy or something that women shouldn't really have. And she talks about all of the money blocks that we have, and every single one of us has money blocks, a lot of them to do with experiences throughout childhood and also our adult life with money and relationships in respect of money. And she goes through tried and tested strategies for overcoming those situations, those stories, and actually actively forgiving those people on the basis of those stories. And I can tell you, hand on heart, the first time I listened to this book, I doubled my income, and literally I've been listening to this the past 3 weeks, my income has jumped again. So if you think you're somebody that doesn't have money blocks, I can promise you, you are. We all are. We all have these stories in our heads, and this book is insane. I think societally we're not very good about talking about money because we think it seems like money grabbing, but actually she really puts a lot of those taboos to bed. And I would say, if you want to build a really successful, viable business with what we do, this book is a must read. It's probably, after You're a Badass, my second most favorite book. It just has released so many money blocks for me. So I would literally download that book. It was a book actually that corporate recommended. They did it as a giveaway, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll just download it. So I did. So trackers, well done to Joe, Elaine, Imogen, Alice, Stephanie, and Marta on submitting your tracker. And the winner this week is Stephanie. I'm not sure whether Stephanie is actually on this call right now. I can't see her, but she will be getting £15 of whatever vouchers it is she wants. So if you're new to the team, just start to submit your tracker. And guys, I want to see more of you guys submitting your trackers. If you're serious about this business and you're on this call, you need to be doing the tracker. If you're not doing your tracker and holding yourself to account weekly, your business is only going to survive for so long, honestly, hand on heart. And also what I'm going to do is lead a call for these guys. I've just said earlier on this week that if I can see that people are doing their tracker, I'm going to give them more of my time. So I'll be reaching out to you guys as a group to schedule a call. We'll probably chat about anything that we think as a group you guys want support or help on, or anything in particular. So just make sure, guys, that you're submitting your tracker. These last 3 months of the year, I can promise you, every single time I've seen anybody in my business elevate and really start to blast through their ranks and see success, they are hitting the floor right now and they fly into the new year. So this time in 2018, I was an Emerald coach. I was just an Emerald coach. By the 7th of December, I was Diamond. And by middle of April, I was a 3-star Diamond. And that was because I was not going to be the coach that fell asleep the last 3 months of the year because I thought, okay, there's no energy. It's turning into Halloween and Christmas. I'm just going to put my feet up because there'll be no one around. And you better bet I showed up day in, day out. And come January, like I actually looking at my December, it was one of the best months on record. So if you think December's not going to be a busy month, think again, particularly with Control Freak. That is going to be a huge month. As long as you're all in, you've got the lights on, your business is open, and you're showcasing that. Flying into January, you have the most phenomenal opportunity, guys. And remember, something I posted in the team page earlier on this week, 2021, the beginning of 2021 is going to be like the new year none of us have ever had before, because we've had COVID and it's been a really difficult year. So you better bet that people's New Year's resolutions are going to be like that, but 10x. Okay. And if you're going to be the girl that's going to show up through that period, through that festive period, regardless of, you know, whether or not we're able to see family and events, I can promise you it will pay off its dividends in absolute, you know, gold. So Success Club for October. I'm in at Success Club 12. Caitlin, in her first full month as a coach, is already at Success Club 8. Jillian is at 4. Liesl at 2. Marty at 2. Donna at 2. And Gail at 2, who just enrolled her first cold market coach from the sneak peek. And I'm super proud of Gail because she has the most horrific back injury at the moment, to the point that she can't even exercise. She can't even do yoga. And I'm so proud of her. Like I said to her earlier, like I didn't even know how I would even enroll anybody if I wasn't able to exercise. And I know how much she wants this business to work. And I can't even imagine how hard that is without being able to do physical exercise. But she's working in the background. She's having those conversations. And I'm super, super proud of you, Gail. I grit, particularly with her little boy at home that she's got to look after. And, you know, well done. It's amazing. Success Starters for month 1, we had Liesl and Caitlin. So I know they're gunning for Success Starters to get their free summit ticket, which is absolutely amazing. Caitlin also became an Emerald coach on Thursday. So we've just been strategizing how to build her to Diamond. So she's really all in and she's just going for it with this business. So well done. And I think hopefully you guys are all aware that Charlotte is a brand new Diamond coach. She needs to hold it for 6 weeks, but she said to me, there is no chance that whenever I make a rank that I'm ever going to slide back. And there's something about this girl that I just know she is going to do what she says she's going to do. She's aiming to be 1-star by the middle of November so that she can go to the New Leaders Conference in Vegas, which is, I went to the New Leaders Conference in February in LA. So I'm so excited for her. She's such a ray of sunshine. She's such a huge part of this team. And I'm super, super proud of her. She really, really deserves it. So after that, the closest to Diamond are Donna and then Tasha, then Ginny. I had a call with Ginny earlier on. Huge shifts there in her kind of professional life, which means kind of the brakes are off and she's ready to run to elite with us, which is just so exciting. And Marta, who is getting really, really close. She's just enrolled at a coach. And the Diamond Retreat, I think you guys probably can understand that this is cancelled. It is an absolute bummer, but there is no way that 6 of us can meet in one location because of the tier restrictions. So that has been a bit of a blow, but you know, it is what it is. And as I always say, your success and your ability to continue to build and be that light for other people is built in the times that the times get hard. So you can imagine I was pretty gutted about that. The girls are pretty gutted about that, but it does mean that in the spring, likely in the spring, I will be running a diamond retreat, and you better bet the qualification requirements are going to be the same. So for those of you guys that missed out, that's a good thing. For us, it's a bummer, but we will get there in the end, bloody COVID. So fantasy football, I'm loving this. I don't know about you guys that are in these teams. It's super, super fun. And I think it's a great opportunity for us to come together as other groups have, you know, other potential leaders come through. Team Ignite, I think they smashed us by about 300 points last week. So I'll be asking both Joe and Shannon for the totals, and I'll announce that in the team page tomorrow. So yeah, we're going to do this like for the next month and see how we go. So the topic today is all about conversations and some example conversations. So as I said, I'm really hoping that you guys have brought some examples. Please don't be shy. It is the most amazing opportunity to really work through some things that I'm sure if you've got a conversation on that particular topic, somebody else has too. And as I put at the top of that slide, the skill is in the conversation. And that is, like, I know as a new coach, that was the most painful thing for me to hear, because ultimately we can deliver training on this, and it is really important that you are lapping up all the training you can on it, but there is no consolation to training better than just diving, thanks Elaine, than just diving in and going for it and learning from experience. And you know, you've seen these quotes from like probably Les Brown and all of the rest of it. The more that you're willing to fail, and the more that you're willing to work out, like, hey, I did 100 conversations today, however many, that one didn't really work. Because the more conversations you're willing to have, the more you're going to learn, the quicker you're going to learn how to guide the conversation. And I can promise you, there is nothing special that I've done to be where I am with my conversations, other than I've had like thousands more conversations than a lot of you guys. And I just want you guys to think about that. When the going gets hard, if you decide that it's too hard and the conversations aren't going anywhere, and then you produce less connections and less conversations, guess what's going to happen? Your business is moving down the graph, not up, right? So in those moments of hard, and this goes for anything in life, you have to lean in and keep going, because that's where you see that peak again. And Josh on our training on Thursday was talking about, you know, in the States, it's like just complete disaster over there. They've got the election. I think it's worse there than it is here. And the energy is not good there right now. And he said, guys, you have got to remember that your success is built in these troughs. The people that do well in life are the people that when they hit a roadblock, like a 2008 market crash, or what we've got going on right now, if you're the person that's still consistently showing up, regardless of what is happening with your conversations, with people being trickier to kind of get over the line, which hand on heart, they definitely are right now. So don't feel like it's just you. If you keep going, you keep being that person, you keep being that light, you keep shining, and you keep showing up, I can promise you, when that market comes back, when the energy shifts, your business is going to blow the bloody doors down. And I'll tell you that because I've learned that in this business, and I learned that in my last one when I was an agent in the center of London in 2008. It was my first year as an agent. I was in the center of Chelsea, and overnight sales values dropped by about 50%. And I had no idea what I was doing. I was just swimming. My little legs were going underneath, and I was like a swan trying to move across the water. Okay. I didn't quit. I dug in. I kept going. And you know what? That next year was unbelievably successful. Okay. So please remember that the result of your efforts is not going to be seen instantaneously. And I've written posts about this. We live in a society with crockpot dreams based on a microwave mindset. Okay. And what that means is we have these big visions and goals, and we want it to happen yesterday. It doesn't work like that. Okay. So sorry, a bit of a tangent there, but I'm naturally the most impatient person on the planet. And so that is not easy for me. It is not, but I've learned that. Okay. So just question yourself, are you being a bit impatient? Are you being too impatient given what we're dealing with right now? So with the conversations, ask open questions. A closed question is a yes or no. And an open question is something like, tell me about your fitness journey. What goals are you working towards? how have you found your fitness journey through COVID? Like, I ask a lot of people when I start conversations with them, and you guys know how I start conversations by now, I really hope, but I generally ask them how long they've been on a fitness journey, or are they on a fitness journey? And I will guide the conversation with really open questions. It is rare in the beginning of a conversation that I will ask a closed question. I often ask closed questions, honestly, if I've started a conversation with someone and I just don't like their vibe. I'll just go for yes or no like answer, because then I can kind of move on without feeling like I've been rude. So ask open questions. And this is like really to do with sales, but it's also to think about, like, if you were to meet somebody in the street and you wanted to learn more about them, which ultimately we really should want to be learning more about people. We should be wanting to build a connection. If you were to have a conversation with a friend, you wouldn't ask them loads of yes or no questions. It's just not the way we converse as humans. It's not the way we build connections. So ask open questions. You know, if they're on a fitness journey, oh, that's amazing. You know, what have you been doing? You know, just really guiding that conversation. Find out what their struggle is, right? So often if you say, like, how long have you been on a, so, you know, find out what their struggle is. If you ask them if they've been on a fitness journey or how long they've been on it, they might say something that often this is like a really telling sign. They'll be like, yeah, I want to be, but I can't. You know, that's the ideal. And I get quite a lot of that from quite a lot of people. And then you can say, like, oh, what's your particular struggle? You know, is it how's your nutrition, how's your fitness? And you can really guide it so that then when you invite them, they know that you've invited them on the basis of the fact that you're trying to find them a solution. And don't be afraid to invite. The other danger we've got in conversations, and this was my number one, like, bad embarrassing kind of thing as a new coach, I'd get myself down such a blimmin' rabbit hole that I would have asked them so many questions, that we had such a big conversation that we weren't even talking about fitness anymore or health. And then I'd send them an invite, and it literally felt like the most icky thing on the planet. And as I've said to you guys before, think about how you want to be invited. Think about how you would like somebody in Instagram to broach a conversation with you, okay? Because your person is going to resonate with the way that you would want to be conversed with. If somebody sent me a direct outright invite, I probably might be okay with it. It just really depends. So for me, like, I don't love a lot of small talk. You guys probably know that about me. And so if I'm going to invite them, I'm going to invite them quite early on in our conversation, because I hate getting down a rabbit hole and then being like, oh, would you like to learn more about being a coach? It actually feels really a bit icky and not nice, because my intention is to invite them, right? And if they say it's not of interest, ask them why, okay? And that, again, as a new coach, I would never have dreamed of asking that question, number one. And number two, if I'd have been told to ask them why it wasn't of interest, I probably would have been too scared, because I think we worry then if we ask them why it's not of interest that they're going to jump down our throat, they're going to be really rude, and it's going to be really awkward, okay? And I rarely experience that, okay? If we're not willing to ask them why it's not of interest when we've invited them and they've said no, or not right now, or I'm too busy, asking them why they're too busy, or, you know, how that looks for them. If we're not willing to do that, we are losing 80% of our business, guys, because 80% of our business is going to be from a no, probably 90%, right? And probably about 80% of that is going to be based then on converting an objection, overcoming their objection. Okay, so if you guys think I'm really rubbish at this because I always get no's and they always tell me they can't do it because of XYZ, no, you're not rubbish at it. You just need to go beyond that. You need to keep asking questions, because that's our job. Okay, so asking them why it's not of interest. If someone says no, I just will say, and I've shared this with some of you guys before, like, do you mind me asking why it's not of interest? It's just always so useful for me to know. And I try to do it in a way that's not received as like, why is it not of interest? Like, because that could be interpreted as quite aggressive, I think. So like, just finding the right tone with that question. And often they're more than willing to tell you why. And often it's a valid reason. And often it's just that they haven't seen the value, or they don't understand what we're offering them. And then we have the potential to overcome their objection. So try to isolate the objection, okay? So sometimes people are like, I'd really love to, but I don't have enough money. Okay, at that point, you're always going to say, aside from the money, is there anything else that's holding you back, right? Aside from the money, is there anything else holding you back? Aside from the time, is there anything else holding you back? And then if they say no, you can use feel, felt, found, okay? Feel, felt, found. is something I use a lot in my conversations, okay? I know how you feel. I felt the same, but what I have found is, okay, so, you know, I don't have enough money. I can barely, I don't know, afford to pay the bills, something like that. I would say, I know how you feel. I felt exactly the same. I paid for my enrollment on a credit card. I didn't know how I would, you know, be able to afford it, but I found a way, and I found that it was the single best investment I have ever made in myself. And like, hand on heart, that is the truth for me. I did pay on a credit card. I couldn't afford it. And it is like, there's nothing that I've spent my money on that is more valuable to me than that £160. So when I say that, I mean it. So think about that from your perspective. If money wasn't the struggle, again, like, you're welcome to use my my examples. If somebody says time, I'm like, damn, well, this is why you need to do this, right? I don't have time. Well, you know, this is actually created for people that don't have time. This is created for the busiest of women to fit in a way to become fit and healthy around their diary and not the other way around. So this is something that's going to work so well for you compared to like going to the gym or something like that. And your follow-up strategy, this is something that I just wanted to mention, and it's not necessarily about the conversation, but it is really important, because your follow-up strategy, you know, I sometimes get questions from coaches like, when should I follow up? Like, if they've said da da da, when do I follow up? And again, like for me, I've worked out through trial and error, through following up too soon and too late, like when is a good time? So I'm going to share that with you. So if somebody said it's not of interest, I'll ask why, and then they might say blah blah blah, and it's not an objection I can overcome. And I might just say to them, if I have another group coming up in a month, would you like me to reach out at that point? Or if someone says it's not the right time, I might say, would you like me to reach out for next month? Okay. Then you have permission. You have been given permission to follow up with them 1 month later or 2 weeks later, whatever you've set as the parameter. And I can promise you, when I started setting those parameters, i.e. getting a time frame from them as to when I could follow back up, then when you follow up, it's far better received. It's what they've agreed with you. And so they're kind of in the mindset of, this girl's going to follow up with me, and they're kind of in your you know, an object in motion keeps moving. It's that thing. If somebody has said they're interested and then I don't hear back from them, I'll give it a couple of days. Okay. If it's somebody that's watched a sneak peek and I'm following up, I will follow up the following day. I will then, if I hear back from them, I will follow up the following day after that. If I don't hear back from them after a sneak peek, I will leave it 2 further days before I follow up again. And if I don't hear anything after that, I'd probably leave it about 4 days or a week. And then after that, if I don't hear back, I'll leave it 2 weeks and then a month. And then they go on my month follow up. So hopefully that helps you guys with the tracking bit. Obviously, you guys can see that I have a tracking system, okay? There's a call on tracking systems. If you haven't seen it, I can send it to you. So let me know if you want to have a look at that. But guys, if you're trying to run a successful business and wondering why you're getting nowhere and you do not have an online tracking system, I don't want to hear it. Like, I'm going to be really blunt. You do not have a business that you are taking seriously until you have a tracking system up and running. And also just really being on it with who is, let's look here. Yeah, I've got, yeah, it's in the training, Marty. It's in the training that I shared, so I can send that one to you. So the place where my business really started to kind of elevate and I really started to build more connection was when I literally left no stone unturned. Like, who's watching my stories? Who's consistently watching my stories? Okay, if they're consistently watching my stories, I'll go in and I'll have a look. When was the last time I spoke to them? If people are watching your stories consistently, day by day by day, and they've said no, they're not interested, and you've been too scared to reach back out, you are doing them a disservice. They are still interested. Okay, if somebody has said no, it does not mean it's no. It means it's not right now, and it means not forever. It's particularly if they're watching your stories. Okay, what are they engaging with? What are they liking in your grid? Like, are they liking your transformation photos? You know, that's a real telltale sign that this person is clearly looking at weight loss or transformation or the boot camp kind of thing. And when did you last speak to them? Like, I will often reach back out to people on the basis of if they've keep liking my stuff, but they've not been in contact for a while. And I'll just reach back out. Often I'll just reach back out and say, hey, long time no chat. How are you? Yeah, just to open conversation. If I've got something to re-invite people into, like the sneak peek this past week, I've been going hell for leather on re-inviting people, because I know when there's an actual active event that somebody can get into and there is an end date to that event, I can promise you there are far more receptive to having an event that they could well miss. And that's why I got so many people into sneak peek, because I knew as long as I was contacting them before the date, the conversion rate was going to be a lot higher. I have a lot of people in my stories who've said no, but so into my stories. And do you mean they're still liking your stuff and stuff, Elaine? I reach out to them every time I'm running a new, yeah. They're just waiting. That you've just got to keep asking. And if they're not going to give you the reason why, then you just have to keep asking, like once a month, if they're going to continue to watch you. Those people are like the most frustrating of all. But like, I had a girl join me, Amy, she enrolled with the free trial through lockdown when I did my free group, and she's been watching me for over a year, and she converted yesterday. She has been that girl for over a year, and she has converted. So guys, as I say, like, the day you sow the seed is not the time that you eat the fruit, right? Just remember that. Every single invite is a seed that's been sown. You can't expect to just reap what you sow 2 weeks later. That's unlikely, really unlikely, okay? When to re-invite, ask them when it's a good time to reconnect or a date to set up the next follow-up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing and just come back to Charlotte, because Charlotte's just going to cover off the same, and then we'll just get some example conversations. Oh, there we go.
Hiya, right. So yeah, like I was just like having a look through my like last like 20-30 conversations on Instagram just before this call, just to sort of share with you guys like the type of conversations that I'm having. So I tend to connect with people on their posts or on their Instagram stories, and then sometimes when I've reacted to their Instagram story and then they reply, and then you sort of, that can sort of ignite a little conversation as well. But I'm like, Izzy, like I respond better if people just directly invite me like to something, and then I can say yes or no. I've been like, Izzy, and I've got into a conversation with another nurse, and we didn't talk about fitness for 3 days, and then I sent her an invite and she ignored it, and I was like, so I've just spent 3 days of my time trying to connect with this girl, and then with my whole intention to invite her, and then she ignored me anyway. So I find it better to track your connections on your posts and on your stories, who's commenting, who's liking, who's at the top of your story viewers, and then just sort of go in with an invite. But I've just shared with our fantasy football that I've shared a couple of my personalised invites. So I sent the generic invite to the chat, and then I sent how I personalise it. So before I invite somebody, I go on their page, as Marty said, like I look to see where they're from. I know it takes time, but I don't want to invite someone who's from Australia. Like, it's just an absolute waste of time. So I go on their page, I connect with them, I look at their last few posts, and then I'll adapt the invite to that. Like, I sent someone one the other day, and I was like, I've seen that you love walking in the Lake District. I absolutely love kettlebells as well. And then it looks to them that I've taken the time to actually go on their page and have a look at their stuff. So I find that then when I invite them, it's reciprocated a lot better, and I don't tend to get ignored as much. My conversations, I've never started a conversation with somebody and enrolled them, as Izzy said, the same day, ever. Like the other day when I enrolled 4 people in like 3 hours, it was girls who have been watching my stories for 5 months. Like, it literally wasn't like I'd invited people and just turned around and said yes. Like, at the end of the day, this is £160 people want to spend. Like, they need to be like knowing what they're getting themselves into. So when you're sending that invite in the first place, or you're doing a sowing a seed with them, I never expect anybody to enroll when I invite them. It is literally just, this is what I'm doing, and then after they've read the invite and after they've thought about, if they're still watching my stories, it'll then make sense to them what I'm doing, and then it'll all and then they'll decide if it is for them or not. So when I re-invite them and follow up with them, which is what I do every single month, then they're more likely to enroll, and that's what happened to me last month. So that's literally how I'm going at the moment. My conversations can be being ignored, and Joe's put, yeah, Joe, 100%, like when you personalise them, honestly, like people feel like they can't ignore you, like you've put that touch on it. But I either get ignored, and if I get ignored, well, that's fine. At least I haven't had anything bad, and I'll just follow up with them a month later. If they're still watching my stories and still watching my posts, I'll send them another invite, and I'll send them another invite until they actually reply to me. So I don't take getting ignored to heart at all. It doesn't bother me. The next thing is you are 99% likely to get an objection or get a question. And if you get an objection, it is so easy now to overcome the objection. Like, it is ridiculous. If you guys are all in on Ultimate Portion Fix, you are all in on the superfoods, you are all in on the community, and you are all in on the fitness, nobody can argue with you. Like, literally nobody. And they will, and not argue with you, but they'll dispute you, and they'll think what they're doing is better. Like, my nemesis is Courtney Black. Oh my God, the amount of girls I've had, no, I'm doing Courtney Black. No, I'm doing Courtney Black. No, Courtney Black's doing really well for me. I'm like, oh my God, no, it's not. Honestly, Imogen, it's an absolute pain in the backside. Honestly, Courtney Black, honestly, it's so annoying. And she does these 28-day challenges, and then does another 28-day challenge and another one, and they're all the same. And I'm like, why wouldn't you want different programs to choose from? Why wouldn't you want a nutrition plan? Like, and I just literally go in on them. I'm literally like, nah, like, you do Courtney Black for 2 months and you'll get bored. You do Courtney Black without a community of girls to hold you accountable and to log your workout, you'll get bored. You do Courtney Black without any Shakeology, you're going to get bored. Like, literally, like, I absolutely swear by it. So overcoming objections, like, the main objection I get is, I'm doing something else. That's the one I'm struggling to overcome at the moment. But then I just explain what we do and why it's different. So I know Courtney Black really well. I follow loads of girls who are doing Courtney Black. I know what she's about. I don't know her personally. I didn't mean that. Like, I just know what she's like, what she's offering, how much it is, and things like that. So I can then use what we do as a comparison and be like, I think Courtney Black's great. I'm really pleased it's working for you. I'm really pleased you're into your fitness. However, this is why I love what we're doing, and blah, blah, blah. And then, because I don't want to insult them, I don't want to say, oh, Courtney Black's shite. Because she's probably not. Like, it's probably all right short term. But what we're doing is long term, and it's sustainable. And that's why I swear by what we do. So if you guys have gone all in on UPF or 2B Mindset, the fitness, the Shakeology, and the community, then you'll have no issue in being confident in overcoming them objections. Courtney Black is shite.
But it's a really good point, and I didn't have that with Courtney Black, but I just want to share something, because I think you guys come across this a lot. In fact, I know you do. The amount of girls that I have as coaches who have come from Arbonne, probably about 50% of my coaches this year, yeah, Joe should wave as well, Stephanie, Joe, Gail, Ginny, another girl today. When somebody's from Arbonne, I don't like rip what they're doing to shreds, of course not. But I know from the Arbonne girls, SJ always tell me the Arbonne Superfood, you have to buy 3 of their products to get what we have in one. And we know from our Arbonne girls that they don't have a fitness solution. So guys, if you come across Arbonne girls, like even guys said to me, just go and follow all the Arbonne people. So like, that is a strategy of mine, just hand on heart, sharing it. It doesn't faze me, because I know the value of what we have to offer is so much better. And I had a conversation with this coach that I've just enrolled is quite like me. She's like a red, and she's quite blunt. And she was like, to be honest, I've just ordered all the Arbonne stuff for Christmas. And to be honest, it's just full of a load of foot creams. I mean, how am I ever going to just sell foot cream? And it just made me laugh, because we have the total solution. And I'm not ever obviously going to say that to somebody in conversation, like, well, you just sell foot cream, because that would be really rude. And that's obviously not what I'm about. What I'm saying is, don't feel like because somebody's from another network marketing company that you can't invite them, because often they are actually doing something that they know they could do, but they're not all in on the product, right? As we've said, your success in this business is being all in. Gail, I've still got foot creams from 2 Christmases ago. And I'm not poo-pooing their stuff, by the way, if you have it, because I know it's really good. Like, I genuinely believe their skincare stuff is really good, so there's nothing against that. But yeah, sorry, Charlotte, carry on.
No, it's all right. And you'll notice with Arbonne girls as well, they all go to the gym, they're all into fitness, they're all into their workouts, because that's like how like they feel better, because the products alone don't do that. So like 100%, like tell them that we've got like literally the full solution. Like I don't really have many Arbonne girls on my Instagram, like not many follow me, so I don't really follow them back. But yeah, like, yeah, 100%, don't be scared to message anybody who's already doing their own thing, because we never know like what's on social media and what people are actually thinking behind closed doors. They might be drowning and might be wanting to try something else, and they're desperate like to look for something else. So yeah, just I have one girl who's on Arbonne and does shreddy. Elaine, that's the thing, right? So she's doing Arbonne products, she's doing shreddy workouts, she's got no community, whereas our nutrition and our fitness and our superfoods and our communities all like working from the same like spot. So we're all like connected, everything's connected. Whereas I've got girls in my group who were doing Slimming World and who were doing Team RH, and like it just, and then going to the gym and having a PT, like it just doesn't fit together like ours does. So, and yeah, exactly, they'll probably be good coaches, like that's the thing. So the other thing I get is, obviously I get when people enroll, the other thing I get a lot is when people ask me questions. People say like, oh, what's this or what's that, and Izzy's taught me like quite a lot, like try not to overdo it and try not to word vomit on them. I literally voice clip and I try and do 1 or 2 40 to 60-second voice clips and try and get my point across, and in that voice clip I'll always ask a question and try and get them to respond. I also have a video that I recorded with Izzy about my about my cyber gym. So if somebody's interested and you feel like a video would, if they're asking a really generic question, like they literally don't have a clue what you're doing, this video is really, really good because it goes through everything. It goes through the nutrition, the Shapeology.
Because I think I've lost it. I'd like to put it in this.
Yeah, I've still got it. I still use it. Like a lot of girls are like said it's a really good video, so I'll post it on the team page after the call. So having that video is really, really good as well, because it's only about 12 minutes long or something like that, and it literally doesn't take very long. So they go and look at that, and then they come, and then I'll follow up with them like 2 days later and say, how do you get on with the video? Do you have any questions? I always ask if people have any questions, because it leaves it open to them if they want to come to me with anything in particular for me to then cover in a quick voice note. But when they first start off with a really generic question, having a tool like that really, really helps. More specific questions, I voice note, and anything that I can get across in a text as well that doesn't really need a voice note, or if I've not been voice noting or whatever, just quickly, just short, snappy. Always ask a question. If you don't ask a question, don't expect a reply, because you should be taking control of the conversation and they shouldn't be coming to you asking. It's you going to them trying to get them over the line. So no matter, even if you can't think of a question, post it in the group chat. Like, we'll try and think of a question for you. If someone's put us something and you put a reply, ask us what questions to ask, like literally just anything just to get them to reply. So yeah, like that's what's working for me. So they're either going to ignore you, they're going to give you an objection, or they're going to ask a question. That's what tends to happen. Like, they don't tend to enroll straight. I've never had a girl enroll straight away after an invite ever. It's always follow-ups. That's why, girls, as well, like, it's so key you're consistent on your stories, because if you're inviting people to a boot camp and then you say it's like a 3-week boot camp and then you haven't shown up for like 4 days doing a fitness program or whatever, they're going to think, well, they're not going to know like what you're actually doing. Like, I put a poll on last night and 25 people voted on my poll. That means I know 25 people are watching my stories at least and taking note of what's on my stories at least. They're just the ones who voted on my poll. So like, you don't actually know like who's taking notice of your stuff. But if you've invited people and then they're still watching your stories, you need to be showing up like and explaining what you're doing, being on your stories, showing the products and things like that. Like, literally, I've not done a workout today because it's rest day, but I've still been on my stories talking about the superfood. I've still been on my stories doing personal development. I've still been on my stories like 15, 16 times a day already. So you need to just make sure that like you're being consistent as well. So when you are getting them invites out, which you should be doing like near enough every day, people have got a story like or something to relate to. So when you invite somebody, you guarantee they'll watch your story because they'll like want to know what you're about. And then if there's nothing on your story, or if there's nothing relating to what you're inviting them to, they're probably not going to react very well. So just make sure you're on your stories, and that's when you're inviting, because you're talking about it on your stories and stuff like that. I find that really helps as well.
Yeah, that was awesome. So helpful. Has anyone got any like conversation examples, any questions, any place they get stuck? Like, the more we can make this like last 15 minutes interactive, the better, because hopefully we can like just chat through some conversations. Oh yeah, Elaine, go for it. Oh, hold on. Ask to unmute.
She's muted.
I've just tried to ask to unmute her, but she'll have to just accept. Oh, there we go.
Right, so I'll give you some examples, because obviously I'm in jail, but still. Jokes, absolute joke. Right, so I get, okay, so I've had a look at the virtual gym that you sent me, and it's not for me, thanks. So I always go, okay, thanks for the feedback. What is it about you don't like? And I never get a reply. So, and that was 2 days ago. So do I follow up? Do I go on their stories? Do I?
I wouldn't.
Not for me, thanks. Is I think, well, what is it not? What's not for you to not?
I would say, do you mind me asking, what did she look at? Did you explain it? Was it a video? Was it you?
I go, first of all, when I invite people to my boot camp, I say, because I just click something and I go, I give them a little brief text first, because if I send
them the invite explaining what it is.
Yeah, it's just brief. It's like, hi, I'm virtual gym, get access to a workout, it's fun and thing, do you want more info? Yeah, sounds fantastic, great. Okay, then I'll go, okay, thanks for replying, really appreciate it, how are you? This is what it's about. We have this, we are community, you can track your journey, get loads of workouts, it's fun, Just like further info. Yeah, great. So I think, okay, rather than me write a whole lot of text, I thought, okay, I asked them want a voice note. I usually say, no, it's all right, I don't want a voice note. So I'll send them that little video of the one you did YouTube, but send that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have a look. Okay, have a look. So have a look, and I'll leave it 2 days. And how did you get on with that? Oh yeah, it's a bit long. Not for me, thanks. And that's what. And I'm like, then I was reading that book, The Power of Attraction, blonde lady, I can't remember what it is. She always says rejection is protection. So I think maybe this person isn't the right person. But I still want to know why, just in case I get that same rejection again and I can overcome it, if it makes sense.
That person's responses sounds like attitude, and if that's the kind of attitude that I get, then I can't be bothered with that person. I don't want that person in my boot camp.
Yeah, I
protect my energy. But the only thing that I would like, just a question, is how long is your invite, and what are you explaining before they get to the video? Because I wonder whether there's too much text.
Might be too much word vomit.
That's the, when you look at a conversation, you always want your wording to match what theirs is at most, i.e. you want more text from them than you are sending. You are the person maintaining control, and you want the information about them.
Maybe it's a bit too long, because I like Charlotte just mentioned about, like, you don't sign up and go on the day, and I'm really impatient, because I'm still trying to overcome the mindset that you don't sign somebody up, like, you don't message them.
You think you're following up with them too soon?
I'm just in such a hurry, because I'm very like, got to move the times, that I want it done yesterday, and I've got to learn to obviously take time.
I think you'll scare people off, and honestly, when I was a new coach, I did that all the time. The amount of people I must have like scared into their rabbit holes.
Well, it's just because I'm full of it in all my stories and that. So I'll go, oh hi, want to share my virtual gym with you. Thought about being interested. Send some details, have a look. Having fun, working out together, nutrition plans and ideas. Love to know what you think. Let me know. And that's what I send out. Because the last one I sent out was like,
you get a good response to that when you send it.
And I usually, it varies, because I have to look at their profile to see what type of person they are. Because if they're like well into fitness, if they're like into nutrition, if they're a mum, so I have to work around it. So I usually get, oh hi, thanks for your message. It's so important we support each other, but not what I'm looking for right now. but I love what you're doing anyway, and I'll keep watching. So.
And maybe we could maybe just share it with me what you're sending them.
I'll do the snapshot. So,
but I think it's that bit that I shared earlier on. Like, are you following up too soon when they've got the info? Like, you want to make sure somebody dropped off and they come back again. Oh, hold on, Joe here. Let's have a look at what Joe's had to say. Oh, do you? How's that been working? Because I don't do that until they've said this working well. I can't hear you.
Yeah, so I do that because I want to build my email list, because I send out a newsletter every week.
Yeah.
And some people will say, yeah, great, thanks, and send me their email. And then others just send me their email address. But I always get a response, and probably out of about 20 invites, I'll get more than half of them back with an email address. Oh. And then I send an email with the bullet points about what you get. So like the shake, you know, the superfoods, the community, this, that and the other. Then I put a link onto my blog with my story and my transformation. And then I put a link on and say, as a bonus, here's a free sample workout. Then I can go back in a few days' time and say, how'd you find the workout? And normally they say, oh, I haven't done it yet. And I say, okay, I'll get back to you on Friday. Is that all right? And they said, yeah. And I've always got that going.
Okay, I'll do that then.
The only thing is, I often I do what Charlotte does, and that is I'll voice clip I'll voice clip, and then if it sounds good to them, then I'll email, because I want them to have the opportunity to hear my voice, my enthusiasm. But I think it does depend on the person, and that's the thing that you guys are going to learn. Like, voice clips might not work for you. They might not. They're highly successful coaches that don't use voice clips. There are highly successful coaches that do. So yeah, like, that's a great idea. They
work really well for me. Like, I get the invite out, they reply, then I say, is it okay if I send you a voice note? Yeah, that's fine. I've never had anybody say no. And then I send them 2 voice notes. I always say, is that okay? Yeah. Send some more voice notes explaining everything you get and how much it is, because that tends to be the next question, is how much is it? Send them like, this is what you get and this is how much it is. Does this sound okay? And they tend to go, yeah, it sounds really good. And then I say, can I have your email? I email you everything over, all the details in black and white. That isn't a share card, it's just an email that I send them. And then they tend to be able to read it all then, because it's not word vomit then, because I've already explained it all in a voice note. And that tends to work really well for me when I'm inviting to a boot camp. I've not invited for a boot camp for a couple of weeks. I've been doing the sneak peek, but when I'm inviting for boot camps, that really, really works for me. So I'm going to do a similar one for inviting into a sneak peek, like inviting to coaching, because I've now got a generic invite for coaching. So I'm going to then get an email, I'm going to then get an email set up for that. So if somebody's interested in the coaching, brilliant, this is what we do. When we're not running a sneak peek, because I'm only running a sneak peek once a month, and I still want to be inviting to coaching every day. So I'm going to get an email set up for that, like what we do as coaches and why this is going to work for you. And I'm going to get that
without a video.
Pardon?
Without putting them in a sneak peek.
No, like
I was going to say.
Well, probably still putting them into an existing sneak peek.
Yeah.
But just like a summary email for them, basically, like once they've got the information about being a coach or what it entails, then sending them an email basically with every details. I'm just going to try it.
Once they've watched the sneak peek.
Yeah.
I think that's because I was going to say, like, that's a great idea. I think that's a really good idea. The thing that makes alarm bells ring in my head, and I know doesn't work because I've seen it time and time again, is if we send them with the sneak peek, if we send them all the details of what coaching is and the cost before they've seen an info session. That work, which you're not doing it that way around, but that's a great idea. If you feel like that works well for your flow, then go for it. So
I'll keep you posted, because if it works, I'll share my email with you.
It's not specifically something I've ever needed to do, but again, like, horses for courses, what works for me might not necessarily work for you. And that's why, I always talk about in this team, like, wanting to have a team that leads itself, i.e. you guys find out what works for you. It is no use us spoon feeding you, because if we spoon feed you, that process might not work for you, right? And it is a case of, as I said, like, the more conversations you have, the more invites you send, the more you work it out. And just I think the one thing that I would say is, if you are consistently doing something and it is not producing results, and you are producing the numbers, you need to look at how your process is working, because it's not working. Something in the process isn't working. The invite's not working. The follow-up's not working. Maybe you're following up too soon. And I think we need to be really honest with ourselves when that's happening, because otherwise we're just going to burn ourselves out, and we're not willing to change something or even look into a process that might not be working. And I think that's important too. Has anyone got any other conversations they want to share? No? No? Anyone got any other conversations they want to bring to the table? It's a great opportunity to work through some scenarios. Yeah, Imogen, go for it.
Sorry, Pebbles is clicking my jumper.
Go ahead, Imogen.
Sorry.
So often I always like respond with, do you mind me asking why? But I get people just go, no, it's not my thing, when they've had kind of all the information. And I did go back and check, am I giving the right information? Am I giving, and I often do in my invite, give a little bit and then almost like a, oh, I want some more kind of thing. But I always get people that are just like, oh, it's not my thing. And then they brush it off and I say, do you mind me asking why? And then they either don't reply or they'll just go, oh, I like working out on my own. I get it quite a lot recently.
I don't just put, do you mind me asking why? I always put, would you mind me asking why? It's always just so useful for me to know for my own like process and understanding. And when I've kind of written it like that, instead of just putting, do you mind me asking why? It gets better received. And I'm not going to say that I'll always get a response on that, but it tends to work a lot better.
Yeah, I normally say like, oh, thank you for your response and then say it. But
yeah.
Okay, I might try that, because it's been quite a few times recently. It's just been, oh, it's not my thing. And I'm like, but you haven't had all the information yet. And I've always given something. It's not like they don't have any idea. Always.
I think they're just too closed off. Their mindset's too closed. They're not interested right now. If they're going to say, it's just not my thing. Again, like as I said earlier, to me, that's attitude. And I'm not going to push that. I'm just going to leave that.
I tend to put them on my follow-up list and just see if they carry on watching me or not.
I always say as well, can I be nosy? And like, do you mind if I be nosy and ask like why you think it's not for you? And then it's sort of like me being like, oh, can I be a bit nosy? Like, cause that's what I'd say in person. Like, I wouldn't just, our person wouldn't say, can I ask why? I'd be like, can I just be nosy? Like, and ask why? Like, and, do you know what I mean? I feel that that's reciprocated really well. It's like, it's not me trying to be professional, it's just me like, can I have a nosy? Like, tell us like what the crack is and I can try and help you. And that tends to be reciprocated really well. It tends to be money, or they don't really know what they're getting. So that's when I send them a video and just be like, here, watch this video and tell me if you still feel the same. And maybe just try and, if they're just going to say, Imogen, it's not my thing, oh, I wouldn't bother then. They're not even going to be open-minded to see what we were going to offer.
Yeah, and I think maybe, you know, if you listen to the way that Charlotte's talking, the thing that I'm really noticing about what Charlotte's saying is that she's working out what works for her, right? What works for her doesn't necessarily work for me. So if I said, do you mind being nosy? That would be so not me. I would never say like, can I have a nosy? Like, I just wouldn't. I would say like, do you mind me asking why? That's just who I am, right? So think about maybe the verbiage, like what do you connect with? What kind of thing would you ask someone? Like Charlotte said, like if you're in the flesh, how would you broach that? I would say, do you mind me asking why? Like that's just me.
Do you know what's funny is I went back and looked at when you invited me, Izzy, and I went, no, it's not my thing.
Did I?
I was that person. I was that person.
There you go. You're always to attract your person. I think you did, and I think I was like, oh, that's not my person.
But I'm here.
See, I went
a year later.
I think then what happened?
I think you said, do you mind me asking why? And I said, oh, I can't remember. I think I just said, I don't understand. That was it. And you said, we need to fill in the link and have a look at it. And I was too scared to fill in the link. So I made a fake email. And I had it. Not a fake email, a new email, which I now use as my coach email. For some random reason, I was so like...
Oh, then I was like, oh my God.
I'm so suspicious of people.
No, Imogen and I had a phone conversation. She obviously didn't trust me.
We had 2 phone conversations.
Oh God,
more questions.
I thought we had one.
I went back to when you first invited me, Izzy, and you added me into a sneak peek. and I was on holiday with my dad, and I said, look, I'm on holiday with my dad, I'll get back to you when I'm home. He went, when are you home? I said Friday, and literally Friday, have you watched the videos yet? I went, no, I've just getting back, I'll watch them tomorrow. He messaged me the next day, have you watched them? I thought, you know what, I'm just going to watch these bleeding videos. And then I loved them.
I'm like Kate Schultz. Kate Schultz, like, people, once I've got people, they fucking hate me because I'm not going to leave them alone until they tell me to fuck off.
Do you know, like, that's the style I want now. If someone gives me some engagement, I'm like, right.
But I'm that girl. Like, I am persistent, and I'm not.
No,
I'm not going to be
works,
like
though.
apologetic. I think that's the thing, guys. You've got to be true to who you are. Maybe my style is not your style. So what is, right? Like, that's who I am, and that's why I attract my tribe, because I'm not going to change the way I am because I don't want to be seen as persistent. Like, I am pretty persistent. That's just who I am.
It made it feel more real to me, though.
About me too.
It made me feel, though, like, because at the time, like, I know you now, and I know how many follow-ups you probably have. It's actually ridiculous. But before I knew you, it made me feel like I was the only person you were talking to.
I felt like that too. I felt really special.
In a nice way, though, because I was like, God, she's remembered that I'm on holiday. Like, how nice is that?
There you go, right? So,
yeah.
so just take that in mind. And this is something I always remember. When I even feel like I'm being a bit persistent, I always remember what people say and have said to me, and that is, thank you so much for being so persistent, because if it wasn't, I wouldn't be here. And it does make them feel special. The thing that makes people feel icky is when you invite them and you just leave them for dust. That's icky. Like, inviting someone and then being vigilant on what they're engaging with and re-engaging with them because they're there. That's not icky. That's you just using your initiative and wanting to help them.
I never feel icky inviting people.
No,
ever.
I invite so many people.
I'll invite, and then you can do what you like. And then I'll invite, and I'll watch your stories, and they're watching mine. Boom, you're my friend for life. So I've got 3 girls that have been part of my trail for like 3 months, and I've asked her each time. Yeah. Do you know what? You're going to get in. You come into my boot camp. Don't worry about it. When you get sense, you come in. But I'm still on there. I'm still on their pages. And so yeah, I always do that because plus the fact I can relate to them because they've all got something that I can relate to. So all they've got to do is just trust. I think it's trust as well, because they probably don't trust her.
100% it's trust.
I don't trust, because when I first met Izzy, I didn't trust her. I was like, oh, this blonde woman on my tail, here we go again. Oh God, no more. I was like, Instagram page, she's there. I was like, oh Jesus, this woman. How? And I'll never forget. She goes, how's your body shop going? I was like, fine, yeah.
Yeah, I scroll back up in these conversations to like I always want to be yeah. Oh yeah, if someone's in network marketing and they're having a conversation with me, you better bet I'm going to follow up with them, because they've already got network marketing skills. They just haven't found the thing they love because they're talking to me, and I know they haven't found the thing they love because they're talking to me. So I'm going to keep my BDI on them.
Yeah. While we're here.
Yeah, but yeah, so I mean, it's 7:05. Has anyone got anything else they want to ask or add or?
No.
Yeah. All right, let's do a boomerang. If anyone else can come onto camera that's not on camera, that would be amazing, because otherwise the boomerang's just going to have quite a few names on it. And the Coach Academy, guys, for anyone you get in, is going to start tomorrow. And the idea is that we just have a big thread. So follow up with your girls. Don't feel you're being pushy. You're telling them that there is a Coach Academy tomorrow. And honestly, if they don't get in tomorrow, they are going to miss out, because we're going to have the training, the kickoff. So, you know, get them in for that start date, because that's the way I always run them. And they're going to be grateful for being in that group once they're on the other side. Right. Oh my goodness. Okay. My light ring is so bright. I can't actually see the screen properly. Right. 3, 2, 1. Well done, guys. And thank you so much for being so interactive. I think it's so important for us to have these kind of conversational type calls sometimes, and hopefully it's been useful. And again, like as ever, if you guys have got any questions about my process or want to ask Charlotte anything, go ahead, and let's honestly show up. These fantasy football teams are awesome, and I can promise you the times when it is the hardest and you still consistently show up is the time where you are going to make the slight edge when you come out the other side. You just have to trust the process. So Happy Sunday, peeps.
See you later.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.